the other thing that I happened to see was how Snoopy killed the Peanuts. And this is actually, I want to say it's a pretty long article, but I think they did that thing that they do on this website where they put a couple of paragraphs and then stuff images between it to make it look like the article's super long, when in actuality it's just the images extending the length of the article. But basically what it was saying is that, I mean, I don't know if anybody else is a fan of the Peanuts, but I used to read them as a kid. I still have a bunch of the comic book compilations and whatnot. And it's just something that, it was always good for a laugh here or a smile there. And I also thought that the way that Charlie Brown was portrayed was kind of representative of any, if you want representation, let's get into that, of any kid that's ever felt alone or depressed or like he had no friends. And it was, it's just a good story. So, and they threw in a lot of humor that most of us can relate to. So that being said, basically, I'm not going to read this whole article because it's dragged out. They're trying to say that the Peanuts, as time went on, became shittier and shittier, and the reason for that is Snoopy, because they just portrayed him doing all this nonsense rather than always touching upon the dark stuff. Like, for example, I believe this is the first strip, and like, oh, I hate Charlie Brown. So that's not little kiddie humor. That's a little bit borderline cruelty about how they hate the damn kid. But it's still funny. I mean, the animation is cutesy. It's not something you expect a little kid to spout out of his mouth, so you get a laugh out of it. But they were saying as time went on, it became more vanilla, I guess you would argue. He's bitching about a comic strip that lasted 50 years, written and illustrated by one man. I mean, do you mean to tell me that over that time you expect the guy to have a perfect track record? Every strip is going to be a hit. The flame is always going to be there. They're like, well, he should have called it quits because he should have knew when to stop. He should have knew when the magic went away. And I want to call bullshit on part of this, because he's saying in the article, well, from the 50s to the 70s, that was the heyday of the Peanuts, and after that it wasn't any good. And that's a load of crap. There was plenty of comics in the 80s and the 90s that still touched upon larger issues that you could say adults would relate to more than kids. Down here in the comments somewhere, there was somebody that pointed one out, and I kind of wanted to share that. Okay. As for being aggressively safe, which is what he called it, he said that the Peanuts became aggressively safe as time went on. So he says, you mean the run where Peppermint Patty and her friend Marcy get shipped off to a church camp, where Patty freaks over being told about the end of days, only to realize upon seeing a poster wanting donations for a new church building that she wasn't born yesterday. So that, and this is coming from, I want to say Schultz was a Christian, so he was a religious guy. And yeah, he touched upon all kinds of things and put a touch of humor on what could otherwise be interpreted as very dark stuff. So this is all about the Peanuts movie. So this article is probably written to generate traffic so that people would, come in and click the damn link just like I did. But little do they know I have ghostery, so fuck you. Yeah, the movie's going to make a lot of money, but they need to touch upon the roots of the series, which that much I will agree with. But I don't agree that I just don't agree that it kind of fell off. I mean, even if it did, can you blame the man for spending his life doing something he loved and being able to do it for 50 years almost up until he passed away? So if I'm going to be honest, I mean, if I had that opportunity, I'm not going to quit just because some bastards, I've got a couple of detractors that are like, well, you should have quit while you're ahead. I mean, anybody would love to have the opportunity to work on their dream, their their pride and joy for as long as they possibly could. So I can't fault the guy for that. And I think that by keeping the strip going, I mean, it's not like everybody had access to the older stuff. So keeping it going, it really brought each new generation of people the opportunity to meet these characters and connect with these characters. But I kind of got a little bit off. Let's see. Schultz apparently went back and forth on beliefs based on those who wanted him to not be religious. I just feel like I remember reading a little bit about him in a biography, and I'm pretty sure that something along those lines was included. I want to say Christian, but I'm not 100%. I mean, it's nothing I'm going to fault him for, but hashtag atheism and all that.